After weeks and weeks and weeks of terrible news in the cruising industry and beyond, we're going to decide to keep it light and tight this week. And we're starting it off with two good feel-good stories. We're going to try to break the monotony of bad news that's been coming out lately. And we're going to set this one off on a good note. That way we can keep the momentum coming. This week, we have a $5,000 tip that was given to a room stewardess on board a Virgin Voyage ship. And she, as you can imagine, these hard workers deserve pretty big tips, and they deserve to get compensated very well. Unfortunately, they do work really hard for what they earn. And this came to no surprise as very emotional for her. And another good field story, 9 passengers aboard of a small ship in distress were finally rescued aboard the Carnival Jubilee. And she was able to rescue them, and they were stranded in the open seas with no gas, no food, and no fuel. They were actually rescued and taken to the Bahamas, except for one of the guys. I'm not sure what he did, but it looks like he was in trouble. That and more in today's cruise news show. Let's dive into it.
Pack your bags, let's go to a place where the sunshine glows. Feel the breeze, we're free.
9 people were rescued off the coast of Florida by Carnival Jubilee crew members, and it's a feel-good story. 9 people are alive. The sea can take your life at any point, especially when you're in distress like this boat was, with 9 passengers on board with no fuel, no food, and no water. Apparently, they were in distress as the Carnival Jubilee left Florida for its port in the Bahamas. A couple hours into the sailing, they actually found people in distress. They were waving flags, they were waving hands to try to catch the attention of any of the crew members on board. And luckily, they were spotted, and they were taken onto the ship and to a separate part of the ship where they don't mingle with regular guests. And they were actually given food and a place to stay overnight as they cruised to the Bahamas, and they were finally let off the Bahamas. They were escorted off by the police. All 9 passengers were looking good, except for one, where he looked like he was in trouble. He was handcuffed as he was getting off and escorted to a bus and taken to probably the police station. And before we start our second story of the day, if you gathered any value from our videos, we just ask that you subscribe, like, and or share our content. It'll keep us bringing you back for more information, more cruise news tips, more cruise news savings, and we'll gladly bring more of that to you. Let us know by subscribing and comment below. What do you think about that rescue? Are they lucky, or they just happen to have luck on their lady luck on their side? Because man, it could have been really bad for them if they weren't around that area. The second news story involves some gambling. That's right, gambling is involved in this news story. A content creator named Bluff. I actually follow him for a while back. He does a lot of videos regarding casinos and gambling that he does on casinos in the Las Vegas area. But this time he found himself for the first time on a cruise ship. I guess they were in a group cruise and they were going to gamble. He bet a couple of monies, and he surprised his room stewardess. Her name is Jinky. Jinky was surprised. She was called to her room, or to their room, and she was surprised. She was actually, she's had a pretty big tip. Obviously, $300 was her biggest to date for that contract, and Bluff surprised her with $5,000, 5,000 buckaroos that he gave her. Understandably, she was very emotional. These people work really, really hard, and they work day in and day out. They deserve everything that we give them. That's why we tip cash, because we know that these people work super hard. I'm not going to get into that. Do you take the tips off kind of thing, because that's going to create a wormhole that we don't want to talk about right now. And the cool part about it is that she asked him if it's okay if she would share this with other people on board with her, that her crew members, other crew members that she was probably working with at the time. And this is our new story that's going viral a little bit, but I thought it was a feel-good story to share. You don't really see these kind of things very often, but if you have a chance, follow Bluff. He does give out a lot of his money, his winnings, to the community. He does it all the time, and that's what this is about. You give, and then and you take, and you give, and you take, right? So that's our objective eventually is to give back to the community, as we have great visions for this channel. If you like any content, if you considered anything of value that we shared with you today, if you know something that you didn't know yesterday, that's considered value, right? So all we ask is for you to give us a follow, give us a like, subscribe, hit the bell. Man, so many things I know, but any of it helps us get you more cruise news savings, cruise news tips, and cruise news. We'll see you on the big deck.